Mati, we love books on this show. I'm going to put you on the spot now.
Yes.
And you are a researcher, you are an academic, you are a journalist, you do so many things. Share with us, are there any books that you've read that you want to recommend to our audience? They love book recommendations.
I think the best book I wrote was my thesis.
What was the thesis on, by the way? That's important.
It was actually on affirmative action, which is, I studied Black economic empowerment in the hotel industry in South Africa. And it was really just, very simply put, why aren't we getting more Black general managers in the workplace? Why aren't we getting more Black corporate executives in the marketplace? And that's really what I studied. And trying to appreciate, you know, the differences between what the law was saying and what was the actual practical issues on the ground. So that's really what it was about. But to answer your question, I think, so to be honest, I've actually been so busy, I haven't had too much time to read books. With my PhD, I read over 300 books, so I was a little, I needed to rest because I did it fairly late. It's only barely 10 years ago. But what stands out even out of that research for me, are two books I read. One was by a guy called Edward Teller's. It calls Race in Another America. Because as part of my research, I had to do quite a lot of in-depth research on racism, how it works globally. I was fascinated by South America and what has happened there and how you can have layers of prejudice and etc. So that book, even up to now, I still look at it and I think, wow, you know, because I think it helped me almost come to terms with who I am and what I am and what to face in life. So it's Edward Teller's by Race in Another America. Another one is a lady called Dr. Anna Spenceley. It's on responsible tourism. It's called Responsible Tourism. And she did a whole study on Southern Africa. And again, it was one of the key books I just found myself going back to, almost like it becomes almost your Bible to say, what is actually happening in our industry? How small enterprises, the tourism value chain, what can we do to make things better? And we sort of touched on it when you were saying, how is the industry surviving? The tourism value chain has been cut into pieces and some have fallen off in that value chain. And, you know, people are actually regrouping and recreating the value chain, unfortunately dropping out a lot of people along the way. So those were some of the books, but from a more, almost like a social point of view, my last book was Michelle Obama, Becoming. So I do tend to admire Black women who've done well, and I read up on them. But because I'm so tired these days, to be perfectly honest, I'm a reader. I read every day of my life. Even now, I just said, if this time I've actually got a magazine in the book, I tend to read more magazines. My son is trying to persuade me, so I must mention it just for the record. There's apparently there are two books called the Stellenbosch Mafia.
Yes.
He said to me, I must read that. Then there's another book by a guy, I think something Knight or something. He's Nike.
Oh, Nike. Yes.
I believe that one.
Phil Knight. Yes. Just do it.
Yes. Apparently that's a very, very good book. So I promise when I get time, I'll buy the book and I'll read it.